What is up, YouTube? If you want to know more and dig deeper into purchase and sale agreements as far as wholesaling real estate, this video is for you. My name is Isaiah Malonzo, and I closed well over 200 grand within my first time full-time wholesale real estate. Before that, I was doing it for like 3 years and made a bunch of money then too. So yeah, this is the contract that I've been using for years. If you guys want this contract, just DM me on Instagram. I'll give it to you for free, or just email me. My email is going to be in the description. If you want to be my student, DM me on Instagram. If you want my wholesale real estate script that I use that has made me that $200,000, just DM me on Instagram or email me. It's in the description. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so this is the contract. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read it word for word quick, and then I'm going to just give you the gist of what it means. And when you're going over this with the seller, first of all, it's going to drastically increase your close rate if you start to go over the agreement for the sellers that need to think about it. You know what I mean? So most of you guys just give out this contract and you just hope that they sign it, you know, or they'll tell you they sign it and you just send it to them and they send it back signed, which that happens a lot. That is common. But on the ones that need to think about it, or just for your knowledge in general, in case they ever have any questions about anything on your purchase and sale agreement, you'll at least have the knowledge and education to be able to explain whatever it is that they have a question about. So I'm gonna go over this contract for the sale and purchase of real estate. Pretty self-explanatory. This agreement dated this 28th day of November 2024 by and between their name, the seller. So when you put this in DocuSign, you would put their name. You would take the box that says name and put it right there. Right? You would put a text box right there and put whatever number day it is, and then put a text box right there and put whatever month it is, or however you choose to do this, and then put your name right here. That's your name. You're the buyer. All right. Purchase and sale agreement subject to the term. Oh, by the way, I am not a legal consultant. This is in no way legal advice. Should have said that before. This is in no way legal advice. I am not a lawyer. I am not an attorney. Do not take anything I say as law. Go seek professional legal advice. I do not have professional legal advice. This is just my experience. Okay. So agreement to sell and purchase. Subject to the terms and condition of this agreement, the seller sells to the buyer and the buyer purchases from the seller the property having an address known as 123 Main Street. That's where you would put the address to the property. Here and after the property, which just means that here and after here. So after here, right up into here, this address is going to be referred to as the property. That's what that means, in case anybody's wondering. Together with all buildings and improvements thereon, permanently attached fixtures and any other utility fixtures, if any. Now, some of you might be thinking that this is kind of wordy. Let me tell you, this contract, this 2-pager, no, it's 3 pages. This used to be 10 pages. On God, no exaggeration. I got this from King Kong like a long time ago when he was giving it out for free. And this was way longer, way more wordy. It was horrible. It was horrible. And over years and years of wholesaling real estate, you know, I was actually able to edit it down to like where it's perfect. Okay, so number 2, purchase price. The purchase price, which the buyer shall pay to the seller for the property shall be, and you spell it out, 100,000 and then dollars right there, dollars. And then you put the numbers, $100,000. Purchase price less any and all deposits shall be paid in full by buyer by certified check at the time of closing, of which the deposit shall be a part. Again, I know it sounds wordy, but it gives it substance. Like it gives it a little bit of body, you know. It's not those 1-pager contracts that look like a scam, you know. It's long enough to where it looks legit, but it's short enough to where it's not too complicated to scare the seller off. You know what I mean? You want them to feel comfortable, like, but you also want to look professional. And I feel like the extra words make it, you know, the way you word things make it seem more professional, because it is professional. This is a legally binding contract. So, number 3, time and place of settlement. Settlement shall take place on or before, and then you put the date. Settlement shall occur within, and then you put the state, or at any such other site as the buyer may select. You're the buyer, provided that the buyer shall have given the seller at least 5 calendar days advance written notice thereof. That just means that you get to pick the title company, and if you change the title company last minute or something, you just have to let the seller know 5 days in advance. Settlement costs. Buyer shall be entitled to select its own title insurance company, settlement company, escrow company, or title attorney or mortgage company. That's just saying that you have the right to choose your own title company. But this is just expressly saying it. Like, in case it wasn't clear here, it's clear here. We choose a title company. Number 4, insurance and risk of loss pending settlement. In the event of destruction of or damage to the property occurring prior to settlement, the seller shall promptly notify buyer of any damage or destruction to the property, and buyer shall have the option of accepting any insurance proceeds with title to the property in as is condition, or declaring the contract null and void, in which case seller shall promptly refund buyer's earnest money deposit, and the party shall have no further mutual obligations hereunder. Now, again, like I said, it sounds very wordy, but basically all this is saying is, in the event that anything happens to the property, as far as destruction wise, so if a meteor hits the house, or if a fire goes through the house, or if somebody comes in and breaks into the house and destroys everything in the house, the seller has to notify the buyer. And I have the option, after that point, I now have the option to accept any insurance money that is claimed from the house if we agree to that, and I take it as is, and we still close. So it's either I close and I accept the house, but I accept any insurance money it gets from the damage, or we could cancel the contract. That's all that means. It's just saying if anything happens to the house before we close, it's either we could cancel the contract, or we could decide to keep the contract and go through with the close. I would just be entitled to any money that the insurance gives the house for the damages. Okay, I hope that's clear and makes sense. Settlement. Okay, I'm gonna read this, but it's really unnecessary. So when you're going over this with the seller, you don't want to read this word for word. You just want to give them the gist. Like, that's it. You do not want to go over this word for word. You just want to give them the gist and say, you have any questions? No? Okay, cool. And you move on. But yeah, you don't need to read this word for word. So at the time of settlement, the following document shall be executed and delivered. Seller shall execute and deliver to buyer a deed for the property with good and merchantable title. This is basically saying, well, what it is, it's basically saying that the seller at the time of closing, right? At the time of closing, at the time of the settlement, when we close on the property, the seller is going to give us the deed to the property, and we're going to have title to the property. If you need a definition of what a deed and a title is, like, go look that up. But basically a title is, or maybe that's the deed. I think the deed is the receipt, and then the title is like whose name is like on file. I forget, but they both basically just mean, think of like the title to your car and the registration. Think of it like that, right? You need both of them. So you go to get this at the time of closing. In the event that the title company is unable to give good and merchantable title, remember, good and merchantable title. What does merchantable mean? Merchantable means sellable. Okay. In the event that the title company is unable to give good and merchantable title, the seller can have the option of curing any defect so as to enable the title company to give good and merchantable title. Basically, if they have a lien on the property or something, or they owe money on the property that they don't know about, or there's back taxes, or the property's not actually their property, that basically just means that when we figure that out, when we cross that bridge, we could either cancel the contract or we could try to fix it together. That's basically all that means. And this is saying if we're not able to fix it together within 90 days, now you could change this to 60, you could change this to 30, whatever. But basically, a little hint for y'all that don't know, basically with this third paragraph, I'm putting y'all on game. I bet y'all didn't know this, but with this third paragraph in section 5, this basically means that if you get caught up with the property for whatever reason, because maybe it's a probate or whatever, there's a lien on the property, whatever, they don't have clear title yet, they still have to go through it. This locks them in with you an additional 90 days. If the house, I mean, if the title or the deed isn't clear, right? That's what this third paragraph does. Y'all, I bet y'all didn't even know that, but y'all could use that to y'all's advantage if you wanted to, but I mean, yeah, sometimes wholesaling does get sticky and people try to snake you. So that could help you, just future reference. Okay, so possession and as is condition of the property. This is basically just saying that we're going to buy the property as is, where is. Completely as is. That means, Mr. Seller, you don't have to clean, mop, sweep, paint, nothing. You don't have to even go to the property and lift a finger ever again. We're going to take it completely as is. Also, any belongings that you want to leave at the property or any junk that you just don't want to take with you on your move, you can leave it there. We'll take care of it. Cool? Cool. That's how you would say that. Notices. Any note. I feel like I don't have to read this out loud. Word for word, I mean. Um, Basically, this just means that if we need to contact each other or if the title company needs to contact either one of us, me or the seller, this is how they would contact us. So if they needed to mail us a check, if they needed to send us, I don't know, something about a mortgage or something like that, this is how they would mail it to us, or this is how they would get in contact with us. This is my information, Mr. Seller, right there. So you see it. If you need to contact me, this is the best way right here. And then boom, basic. This is just there just for space. Really. Seriously. All right. Miscellaneous. Okay, this agreement to da 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 da. Basically, this is your inspection period. This is your inspection period. This is what this paragraph is for. Okay, so basically, I should read this word for word just so y'all could fully understand this inspection period thing. So, this agreement shall be construed, interpreted, and enforced according to the laws and of the state of, and then you put your state right there, or whatever state that the house is in, without regard to principles of conflict of laws. Honestly, I don't even know what that means. It's just there. But hey, it's gotten me through it these years. I mean, I kind of know what it means. In my head, it means, I don't know if this is right, but without regard to principle of conflict of laws. I think that's protecting me somehow, even though I'm like in the state of, let's say, Texas. If there's like some federal law that's stopping me from doing something, this is like saying, hey, no, I'm not. This isn't construed or interpreted or enforced according to those laws. Only the laws of this state, I think. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe that shouldn't even be in this video. Oh, well. So this is your inspection period. This I do understand to a T. And this is the most important part. So seller will allow buyer and or his inspectors complete access to the property for a whole house inspection, a wood destroying pest inspection, and any other inspections buyer deems necessary, all at buyer's expense. Buyer's obligation to close is contingent upon the results of these inspections being satisfactory to buyer. In the event buyer determines to terminate agreement as a result of any of these inspections, seller shall promptly refund buyer's deposit, and neither party shall have any further obligations to each other. This instrument will become a binding contract when accepted by the seller and signed by both buyer and seller. Okay, so let me explain that because this is very crucial. Most of you are like, what do I put for inspection period? The seller asked me, how long is my inspection period? Okay, the inspection period is for as long until you could close. I think most of you guys know that already. That whatever my closing date is, plus whatever I added on top of that, if the title's not clear, that's how long my inspection period is. Okay? Now, if you're negotiating and it just comes down to it, and you're just talking numbers, the people know what they're, whatever, then yeah, you would just add, let's say you did have to add a 5-day inspection period. This is why I deal with off-market properties, because when you're off-market, you don't have to deal with this. But when you're on market and you have to deal with all these realtors and they're just, no. Then they demand things and like, no. Okay, so if you had to put 10 days, so you could put allow buyer and his or her inspection complete access to the property for, wait, can I type? Yeah, I can. For, and then you could put in bold 10 days. But actually, I wouldn't even put that. I would put business days. And then for a whole house inspection. So you could do it like that. You could put 10, 5, 15, 14, whatever you want. But yeah, I'm slick by putting 10 business days. That basically means 14 days because I'm counting weekends if I'm going to work on the weekends. Right? So you could put 15 business days is really, was that 19 days? 5, 10, 15. Yeah. Wait. 15. I'm stupid. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. That's 21 days. So 15 business days is 21 calendar days. So yeah, you could be slick with that too. Okay, so this is what saves you. This is what protects you. Buyer's obligation to close is contingent upon the results of these inspections being satisfactory to the buyer, which basically just means you could cancel the contract for whatever reason. You just have to say buyer deemed inspection unsuccessful or buyer deemed inspection a failure or whatever. Buyer decided not to close due to the inspection being unsatisfactory. You can put whatever you want. Um, what else? So also, what a lot of you people might be wondering is where in the contract, if you're wholesaling, right? If you want to assign this contract, you're probably wondering where in the contract does it say that this is assignable, that I can assign it? Well, in certain states, you don't have to say that in your contract. In certain states like Louisiana, every contract is always assignable. You could just assign a real estate contract. Every real estate contract, unless explicitly stated inside the contract, it is automatically already assignable. But if you're in another state like South Carolina or I don't know, Illinois or something like that, you might have to say it. So in which case you would just put this. This is all you have to put, okay? This one sentence. This contract is fully assignable. There you go. And that would be that. This agreement. So I keep referring to this as agreement. So, but it's also put contract up here. So you could put agreement, you could put contract, whatever. Just put contract. Where did I put it? Oh, right here. This contract, that's good enough. That's all you need. So this is what would make it assignable. If you have this in the contract, this is this is good. I don't even think this is up for interpretation. Like this is plain and simple. This contract is fully assignable. Yeah. So, and then down here, this is just saying that this is deemed like executed when both parties sign. So this is the addendum. You could add whatever you want in here. You could say anything else that the seller might have said, like they need you to pay $5,000 in back taxes. So you would just put buyer will pay, you could put $5,000 of the, no, of seller's back taxes owed. Oh, why do I capitalize everything? Owed on the property. Seller will pay $5,000 of seller's back taxes owed on the property. And then I would also put it right here. Yeah. So the point is, guys, you could just play around with this contract however you want. Like if you do have to put something extra into the contract, this is where you put it. So you could add, like, I've had multiple contracts where the seller asks for a bunch of different stuff and you just put it in there. Um, like, if let's say uh I don't know, the seller needs help moving, you would put something in here like that just says buyer will help seller move, or buyer will help facilitate s- seller with a moving company, something like that, something. But you could really just word this however you want. But whenever you're explaining this to the seller, you do just want to give them the gist of it. You do not want to read it word for word. The better you could understand this, the better of an understanding you'll have of like what you're doing. You want to understand fully like what you're doing. Like you're getting people to sign things. Do you know what they're signing? Like, yeah, you get the gist of it, but did you read what they're signing? Did you read what you're signing word for word? And do you fully comprehend and understand everything that you're signing? Okay. Once you get that, make that a habit, now you're going to be way more cautious before you sign things, randomly. It'll just make you more, conscious of it, of what you're signing. It's very important to pay attention because there have been years, right? I've been using this contract for years, and there were things in this contract to where I would go to a title company and I would try to cancel, and they read over my contract word for word about shit that I didn't even know. And they said, you can't cancel this contract. You have to close. And I was like, bro, it was bad. I was scared. It was like, I think that was after I closed my first deal. I think it was almost my second. I believe so. But yeah, it was bad. I put earnest money up and everything, and I tried to cancel. And they're like, no, you can't do that. You can't get your earnest money. I was like, damn it. So yeah, that's another thing. Okay, let's say if you guys are wondering about earnest money, you would put it in here. You would put something like uh buyer will pay the seller. No, buyer will pay, let's just say $1,000. $1,000 as a deep as an earnest money deposit. Here, I have a actual, I forget where it's at though. Hmm. I have a paragraph in here somewhere for this. But this is basically, you could just make, so it would be something like buyer will pay $1,000 as an earnest money deposit made out to, no, 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 made payable to, and then you would put whoever you're going to deposit the earnest money to. Let's say you would put the name of the title company, basically. So you would put title company and law LLC, and then you would put, 123 Main Street. You would put their address. With Memphis, Arizona, 75862. That's the address of the title company. And then you could just put earnest money will go towards the total purchase price. Earnest money will go towards the total purchase price. Or you could put it, I mean, that's good. Earnest money will go towards the total purchase price of the property, if you want to just be more wordy. But that's good enough. If you need to put earnest money, that's what you would put. But if you need to put $100, do $100. Okay. I hope this made sense. I wanted to get this out the way for anybody who was either having trouble with this or had some questions about it or wasn't sure. That's pretty an in-depth detail. So I would usually just send this through DocuSign. DocuSign is pretty simple. Just take 5 minutes to figure it out. It's pretty simple. Yeah. I hope you guys got some value out of this. If you did, make sure to hit the like button, comment. Oh, I probably froze. If you guys got any value out of this, make sure to hit the like button, comment, subscribe. I'm dropping weekly videos or every other day, really, about just wholesaling real estate, self-development, and just life in general. If you want that contract, just DM me on Instagram or email me. If you want my script, DM me or email me. If you want to work with me, if you want to be a student, if you want to get a wholesale deal, because look, I'm not taking too many students that anymore, right? But if you're serious, if you really, really want to make some money in wholesale real estate, you know that wholesale real estate is what you want to do. Okay. It doesn't matter if you've never closed a deal before. If you're willing, if you're coachable and you're hungry, I'm willing to work with you. But I don't have time for quitters. It's what I really don't have time for. I really don't. Now, if you want just a course or some information, I'll sell that to you too. But if you want to be a real student and you want to work with me and have me hold you accountable and guide you through the steps of getting your first deal in 90 days or less, on average, it should take you about 60 days or less. Just DM me on Instagram or email me. Okay. All that information is going to be in the description below. Peace, y'all.